I think that people are very, very quick to come after Matt Ryan and blame Matt Ryan for the challenges that their team the Atlanta Falcons football team is having. Man, when you give Matt Ryan support, we have seen him. He won an NFL MVP. He went to a Super Bowl. He lost, but man, you can't deny Matt Ryan's ability. And the dude is a warrior. He's getting hit every single play. I mentioned it earlier. When I watch the Falcons, I just feel bad for Matt Ryan. That offensive line is horrible. There's nothing you can do there. And it's not a great quarterback draft. And Atlanta isn't going anywhere. They got an aging quarterback, Matt Ryan, who might be more valuable to them as a trade piece than to continue trying to win and rebuilding around him. And I think it'd be weird to not at least mention the possibility of a Matt Ryan trade. Again, not a great quarterback draft. You got Malik Willis, Matt Corral. We'll see where they pan out and where they shake out in the draft. But, I mean, after that, it's like, And so there's a lot of quarterback-needy teams around the NFL. Matt Ryan's a name that hasn't been brought up yet as a potential guy who could be moving this offseason that I think should be mentioned. So they're not going to trade him to New Orleans. They're not going to trade him to Carolina. That's in their division, the NFC South. But I've come up with 5 teams that I think are the top 5 potential trade destinations for Matt Ryan and where Atlanta could send him. Now, I don't know that it entirely makes sense for Atlanta to trade away Matt Ryan. Again, it would make sense with for the fact that if they want to rebuild, they might want to get a younger quarterback. They might want to just reset everything and truly do a reset because it's not working with Matt Ryan. Maybe they want to trade him away, get a king's ransom for him. But I don't know that I would trade away Matt Ryan. I'd try to keep building around him. However, as a fan who does believe in Matt Ryan, I want Matt Ryan out of there. Does a trade make sense? I'm not entirely sure, but I want to rescue Matt Ryan from this horrible Atlanta Falcons offensive line, this bad situation with a coach I don't really believe in. It's a bad organization. So the best team I think you could send Matt Ryan to, it's like it's a dream situation. I don't know if it works financially, but the Cleveland Browns have a lot of weapons down there in Cleveland. They run the ball well. They have some good receivers. They got a couple of good tight ends. Austin Hooper used to play with Matt Ryan in Atlanta. Imagine sending Matt Ryan to Cleveland. What's the problem in Cleveland right now? Injuries is one. Number 2, Baker's not playing very well. Baker Mayfield, their young quarterback. I mean, the options are open. Cleveland is looking at everything they can do to try to get better quarterback play next year. I solved your problem. Go get Matt Ryan. That'd be incredible. So that's one option. Option number 2, and by the way, maybe Cleveland sends Baker to Atlanta and they try to build around Baker Mayfield. I don't know. I mean, if you get Baker and a couple first-round picks, do you send... if you're Cleveland and you can get Matt Ryan for Baker Mayfield and a first-round pick or 2, I think you make that deal. Now, can they afford to make that deal? I don't know. Like, financially, can they pay him with their salary cap? I don't know. That's a question for someone else to figure out. I wish I knew that answer. I put this together. I'm like, that sounds like a fun trade. The Denver Broncos is another spot Matt Ryan could go where it's another quarterback-needy team that's got some good weapons. They're ready to win. They just need good quarterback play. Hey, Matt Ryan could solve that problem as well. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers is a team. They got Big Ben about to retire. And they're another reason why. So all these teams, the top 5 teams I think Matt Ryan could go to are all AFC teams where Atlanta doesn't want to trade away Matt Ryan and then have to play him twice a year or have to play him maybe in the playoffs. So like we don't want to do that. Let's send him to an AFC team. Pittsburgh is a good spot. They're a team that needs a quarterback. And I don't know that I believe in Dwayne Haskins. The NFL draft isn't great for quarterbacks this year. How about trading for Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan to Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense. It'd be really good. That would be a good spot for him to land because I want Matt Ryan to go somewhere where he can win. I feel bad for him, and I really want to see him go somewhere with more support and more help to help him win. Team number 4, how about Houston? Imagine Deshaun Watson, if his legal stuff works out. Imagine Deshaun Watson going to Atlanta. That'd be fun, first of all. And then imagine Houston just, getting a high-level quarterback. Now, it would suck for Matt Ryan to go to Houston. They're awful. That would suck. But if you're going to trade away Deshaun Watson and you want a quarterback in return, I'm sorry, I would rather have Matt Ryan than Tua. Like, Houston's got to try to make a trade to get rid of Deshaun Watson. Get a couple of first-round picks and Matt Ryan. Hey, we're talking. You got a good quarterback. You got a couple first-round picks, and it's better than getting Tua, who I love Tua. I don't know that I would trade Deshaun Watson for Tua based on how at least their ability, based on how good they are on the field. They're not even close to comparable. At least if you trade Deshaun Watson for Matt Ryan, you're getting good quarterback play from that trade. The fifth best spot you could send Matt Ryan is maybe Miami. Miami has Tua. It seems like they just don't believe in him. They don't want him. They refuse to build around him. Now, Matt Ryan would go from a team with a bad offensive line to another team with a bad offensive line. This trade would be not fun for Matt Ryan, but it's clear Miami, they wanted Deshaun Watson. Miami was ready to make a deal yesterday for Deshaun Watson. And not literally yesterday, but at the trade deadline, they clearly tried really hard to get Deshaun Watson. So Miami is in the mix to get a quarterback. Hey, Miami, you guys want Matt Ryan? That's it. I get on the phone and make that call. We'll give you Matt Ryan for a couple first-round picks and Tua, and we'll see what we can do with Tua. And if Tua doesn't work out, it's kind of like the Jared Goff trade, where you're like, well, Jared Goff isn't our long-term quarterback, but we got a couple first-round picks, and we can use them to rebuild. So the top 5 trade destinations where Matt Ryan could potentially go. You got Cleveland, you got Denver, Pittsburgh, Houston, and maybe Miami. I think New Orleans could use him, but why would you trade your quarterback to a division rival? Same with Carolina. But I think the Browns with Matt Ryan would be fantastic. Denver too, but the Browns especially are a team that the way they play, the way they use play action, it's just a home run. Kevin Stefanski with Matt Ryan at quarterback, he could execute that offense at a high level. And I think that would be a lot of fun to see. So, I don't know. Stop blaming Matt Ryan for the problems in Atlanta. Does he throw some picks because he's desperate and got no help? Yes, absolutely. But I just think that it's really, really frustrating to watch Matt Ryan try to make the best of a bad situation in Atlanta.